Pointers have been a part of programming languages since the early days of computing. The concept of pointers originated in the late 1950s and has since become a fundamental feature of many programming languages. And I'm sure if you're an undergraduate, you must have come across the concept of pointers in your early days while learning programming languages including C, C++, and many others. The reason pointers came into existence was to provide a way to directly manipulate memory. In early days of computing, memory was limited, and programs need to be written in a way that made the most efficient use of these limited resources. Pointers allowed for this by giving the programmer direct access to memory locations, which could be used to dynamically allocate memory, create data structures, and perform other low-level operations. Now think of it this way. It's easier to give someone your address than to give everyone a copy of your home, right? Now, pointers are like special utilities in a way which is easy to map around in a program code. Unlike other variables, pointers store the address of other variables. More on that soon. On that note, hey everyone, welcome to SimpliCode's YouTube channel. I hope you guys are doing good and staying safe. In today's session, we'll understand what are pointers, why we use them, different types of pointers, and we'll understand the different use cases of pointers, and we'll execute them in Windows Visual Studio Code using C++ programming languages. But before we begin, if you're new to the channel and haven't subscribed already, consider getting subscribed to our channel SimpliCode to stay updated with all the latest tech content, and hit that bell icon to never miss an update from us. So without any further ado, let's get started with today's topic. Firstly, let us discuss the agenda for today's session. We'll start this tutorial with a quick introduction to what is pointers, and then we'll understand how to declare a pointer, and we will also understand how pointer to array is declared, similarly pointer to function, and finally pointer to pointer. So I hope I made myself clear with the agenda part. So let us move ahead and understand what is pointers. Now pointers is a variable that holds the address of another variable to be executed, which can be of any data type like int, char, etc. Pointers are used so that we can easily access the memory location, and it will basically reduce the storage space, which will help to increase the speed of a program's execution. So let us take an example. Now int asterisk symbol followed by the name of a pointer variable, where p is a pointer variable holding address of another variable of type integer here. Now similarly, a pointer variable can hold the address of a variable type char, float, array value, etc. So now let us now discuss how to declare a pointer. Now let's say we have a data type followed by an asterisk symbol and the name of a pointer variable. Now to assign a variable to a pointer, we use the ampersand sign, alright, which is in short is a and sign. So for example, let's declare a variable of type int and the variable is a. After that, let's declare a pointer variable that is p, and then a variable a is assigned to a pointer variable p. So this means that a pointer is holding the address of variable type int. Now let us understand this with an example. Now look at the diagram here and we'll understand how pointer works basically. So when we declare a variable, memory is allocated and the value of a variable is stored in that memory at some address. So in this example, let's consider the address to be 2000. Similarly, when a pointer is declared, memory space is allocated at the address 1000 and the value stored in that memory is the address of variable a. So I hope you understood how we declare a pointer. Let us now move ahead and understand how we use pointer with arrays. Now I'm not going to detail on what array is. We'll have a separate tutorial on arrays in our next video, so make sure you check that out. We'll just have a quick introduction to what is array. So array is basically a collection of continuous elements having the same name and the same data type. Now any language like C, C++ uses a pointer to an array to reduce the memory space of the program code. Now in a pointer to an array, the address of the first element of an array is assigned to the pointer variable. Now let's just consider an example. So if you look at the example, we have an array of 5 elements. So where we have declared an initialize an array of elements, and then the first element of the array is assigned to the pointer variable p, let's say for example. Now once the base address is assigned, the other elements of an array can be easily accessible. Now suppose the array elements are, let's say 5, 10, 15, 20, and 25, and they are stored adjacent in the memory with address locations as 1000, 101, 102, 103, and 104 subsequently. Now, the memory space is allocated to the pointer variable at some address, and it holds the address of the first element. Then, by incrementing the pointer variable by one of the address of the next element of an array, it will be stored in the pointer p. Now consider the below example here, wherein once the pointer is incremented by 1, the address 1001 will be stored in the pointer p. So this is how you can store address of any value of an array with using a pointer. So let us now understand how we can use pointers with the help of another pointer to store data. Now, a pointer to pointer is nothing but a pointer variable holds the address of another pointer variable. As simple as that. Now, for example, we have declared the integer pointer variable here, which is p, and in the second declaration, we have ptr, which is a pointer variable I'm taking, which holds the address of another integer pointer variable, which is again p. So let us understand better by looking at the diagram here. So let's take an example here. So here variable a is holding a value 5 at the address 2009. All right. And the pointer variable p is holding the address of a variable a. Now another pointer variable ptr is holding the address 2000 of integer pointer variable p. So this is like a subsequent, allocation of addresses where one element is being pointed to the prior or the precedent one element to its name. So in this way, pointer to pointer also works. Well, I hope I made clear with what pointer is, how we can declare a pointer, how pointers can be used with arrays, and how pointers can be used with another pointer. So let us now directly jump into my Windows Visual Studio Code, and we'll execute some programs using C++ language. So as you can see, Visual Studio Code has started. Now you can use any compiler or editor of your choice. Now I'm taking a Visual Studio Code. You can also use Dev C++, which is also another good option in order to compile your C++ programs. So if you want us to make a separate video on how to install Visual Studio Code or any other compilers, let us know in the comments below, and we will try to make a separate video on how to install C++ compilers in our next videos. So let us now just quickly go through some of the programs of pointers using C++. So the first basic pointer is we'll understand how to create one and how it will perform. So you must have basic knowledge on how C++ works, the basic commands, how the logic performs, the syntax and all. Only then you will understand how the workflow is going. So I would recommend you to have some entry level or the beginner level knowledge on C++ before we work on this. So I'm basically giving a header file which is #include iostream. Next I'm using the namespace std and give a semicolon, and then int main, and within the flower brackets here we have to write our code. Now let us just declare a data type and some variables. Now let's say I'm declaring a int data type and I'm giving a variable and I'm assigning a value, let's say 27, and then I'm creating another data type and I'm giving another variable which is a pointer type. So it is #p, or let's take another #ip. Let's say it's your wish, you can take p, ip, anything of your choice. And I am assigning the address for the IP variable, that is the address x. So I'm using the ampersand sign here, so which is and x. All right. So that's it. Now mention the cout, which will display the result. So the value of, let's say, x is, I want to print in this manner. All right. Next, let's say cout, we have to print x, right? Next, again we have to print the address of it. So I'm giving cout the value of IP also, which we have taken. Value of IP is, close the brackets and mention the semicolon. and again C out the value of IP we want to print, so I'm making it. Next, finally, we have the value of IP, which is the address which is stored. So that also we will try to retrieve. C out value of address of IP, that is asterisk IP is. All right. So I think we're good to go. Again, C out, mention the asterisk IP. All right. So that is it. And we will finally, if it doesn't return anything, we'll return 0. So that's it. I think we're good to go. Now on the topmost right corner, you'll find this run code button. Click on that. So as you can see, we have successfully executed our code here, which says the value of X is 27. Value of IP is, it is giving a random address, which is 0x61 and so on. And finally, the value we are giving to this IP operator, which is the address of the X variable, right? So that is why it is storing 27. So this is how you can basically use pointers to get the value which is stored in another variable by using the address. So I hope you understood. Let's just move on to next code, and we'll understand another basic code using pointers. So let's say we will write a C++ program to add two numbers using pointers. In that case, the following query would be, so include the header files again, iostream using namespace std in, and inside that we will write our code here. Now the basic agenda that we need is to add two numbers using pointers. So let's just declare two numbers. Let's take int, and I'm giving the variables as number 1, and I'm taking another variable number 2, and then I want a pointer, right? So for that I am taking, let's say, ptr1 as one pointer, and next we'll take another pointer which is ptr2. So you can take off it of your own choice. Now since we are adding two numbers, we will also use the sum. Now initially I'm setting the sum to 0. All right, so that is it's just a basic knowledge of what we are trying to do. And then I am giving C out to the user to enter the number of their own choice, right? So enter the number is the command, and then you have to input the value. So for that I am giving C in. All right, so number 1 and number 2. Next, we are using a pointer in order to get the result. So for that I am declaring pointer1, where I'm storing the address of the first number. So ptr1 equals to ampersand num1 and semicolon. Similarly, for second number, which is ptr2, give ampersand sign and number 2. All right. Next, we want the addition of these two numbers. Now, since we already declared sum variable, so I'm just taking sum equals to. Now we are using the pointer, right? So pointer points to the address of that variable. So you have to use the asterisk operator here. So asterisk ptr1 plus ptr2. So I hope you understood the logic here, guys. Now finally I'm printing this C out. Let's say the sum of two numbers is. It's as simple as that, okay? And I am giving the value, which is this sum again we want to generate. All right, and finally you can also keep return if the code doesn't succeed. All right, I think we are good to go. Just click on run code. It will take some time to process. So it is asking to enter the number. So let's take two numbers, which is, let's say, 28 comma another number 67. Click on enter, and you can see sum of two numbers is 95. So we have successfully executed the code where we have added two numbers using pointers. All right, now let us move on and discuss another use case or another example on how we can use pointers, where we'll try to use a function, and where we'll write a function which will take a pointer and then display it on the screen while taking a number from the user, and will finally print on screen using that function that we have taken. So I hope you've understood what the question is. We are basically writing a function which will take a pointer value and then display that number on our terminal screen, and then we'll take a number from user and print it on screen using that function. So let's just write the code for it. It will remain the same. We'll just delete this. We'll have the headed file and all that. Now, since we are using a function, we'll use the void method, which is used to pass arguments to our function. So void, let's take print, and inside that we have to pass arguments, and I'm taking a data type int, and I'm giving asterisk a as a value. All right. Now, inside the flower brackets, we are basically giving C out, and we want to retrieve that value. So I'm just writing again asterisk a and mention semicolon. Now we have to write the main function here. All right. Basically, we are trying to take an input from the user. That is what we will be writing in int main here. So inside the main function, let's just take value. Let's take int x. Then I am giving C out to print to number, which will print the number for us, which is enter the number again, put the semicolon, and I'll take the input from the user. So that is why I'm using CNN, which is value x, and then I want to print this value. For that, I'm using the ampersand sign. Close the square brackets, and finally we will return 0. I think we are good to go now. Let's just execute this code. So it is saying enter the number. All right, let's just enter a number, 78. Click on enter, and again you will see the 78 is being printed. So basically we are passing an argument where we are trying to pass a number to our variable, which is x, which you have taken, and to pass into our function where we have declared another variable, which is a, through pointer. So in this way you can write any function which will take a pointer value, and from the user value, take a value from the user, and it will print on the screen using that function. So this is how you can also use functions in order to use pointers. So I think we have discussed pretty much all the basic examples on how to use. Okay, all right. We also have the array, right? We discussed how to use array to pointer. So let's just cover another example on that as well. So let me just clear my clear screen. So let us now write a simple C++ program to perform a sum of array elements using pointers. All right. So the header files remains the same again, and I'm using the main function. And inside the main function, we will basically declare the values. So since it is an array type of value, I am declaring array, which is of keyword ARR, and the array size will be 5. Okay. And then I am taking, now since array deals with the continuous memory location, we need a loop in order to run the values that are present inside that. So for that, I'm just taking a variable I, and the sum will be 0. Okay, since we are doing a sum of array elements. Next, I am creating a pointer of ptr, let's say. So let us pass a value which is int asterisk ptr, and then I am giving the command to enter the numbers, enter the number, and then I'm writing a loop. Now the loop starts from the first element, that is the address a of 0, that is the element that is present at the first place, that has the address of a of 0, and then a of 1, 2, 3 and 4 finally. So we have to perform a loop here. So for that, I'm using the for operator here. So for I is equals to 0 and I is less than 5, I want the values to be incremented by 1. So I'm using I++. Now this is another basic loop code that you must have come across. So I'm sure you're understanding what I'm trying to portray here. All right. So let's just open the brackets again. And then I want to take the values from the user. That is, I'm using CNN and array of values, which we have returned, which is I. So mention the semicolon. And that's it. Now we have to assign the values to our pointers, right? We have just basically created an array and we are trying to enter the values from the user. And next we have to declare a pointer to our array. So for that, what I'm going to do is I will assign pointer to my array value, and the operation that we are performing is again the loop which we have done earlier, which is I equals to 0 for I less than 5, and it should be incremented by one value. So I'm using I plus plus here. And again open the flower brackets. And since we are performing sum, the logic will be sum equals to sum plus and all the values that the pointer stores, which will be incremented by 1. So I am taking the address, which is the asterisk operator, and inside that I am passing ptr plus I. Okay, I hope you understood the logic here, guys. So basically what it does is pointer takes the values from each of the array elements and it will add one value to each of its to its name. So let's just write I, and I think we're good to go now. Let's just check our code, cross check, and okay, and finally we have to print, right? So I'll just give another C out where it will be let's say sum of array elements, all right, is put semicolon, and we have to return the value of sum, right? So it will be sum, and finally we will write return 0 if in case it doesn't return any values. All right, I think we are good to go now. Let's just execute this statement. So it will take some time. We'll just wait for it. I think there is an error in our code. Let me just check. So we haven't placed a semicolon after this line, guys. So that is why it was showing an error. So it is asking me to enter the numbers here. So we have declared 5 numbers, right? We will just take numbers of each. 18. Let's take 23. Let's take 36. Let's take 48 and 57. So these are the 5 elements or the 5 numbers that I am taking here. Click enter and it will show sum of array elements is 182. So and we have successfully used the pointers in order to point the address to its variables, and we're trying to perform an addition using this. So in this way you can use pointers also with arrays. So I think we have covered pretty much, guys, now. So learning pointers can add a great value to your array of skills before you move ahead, before learning data structures like, trees, linked list, graphs, arrays and all. It's a must know concepts in data structures before you move ahead. So pointers can be used in a variety of ways, like such as creating dynamic data structures and passing variables to functions by reference and implementing any low-level memory operations. But it is also important to use pointers responsibly, as if you use pointers unnecessarily, it will lead to memory leaks, buffer overflows and other security vulnerabilities. And just the overall the use case of pointers is to basically efficiently use the memory storage within your system. So for that we are using pointers. So make sure you use pointers efficiently. So that brings us to the end of today's session, guys. I hope you understood what pointers are, how they are implemented in C++. Thank you for watching the video, guys. If you found this tutorial informative and helpful, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends and colleagues. If you have any further queries regarding any of the topics covered in today's session, feel free to let us know in the comment section below, and a team of experts will be more than happy to help resolve all your queries at the earliest. Stay tuned to the channel for more such amazing content. In our next video series of these data structures, we'll be understanding what are arrays and why they are useful. Until next time, stay safe and keep coding.